What's going on, boys? Thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free to stay in the loop, arm yourselves, life stuff. We're talking about depression and detachment today, and this video is either going to be very brief or very long. My father and I got in a short but nasty argument because he was upset I was doing as he asked in the way he asked for it with the attitude he would want, and that was upsetting to him. He wanted someone to have problems with, but this time, thanks to a mixture of skill and fortune, there was no room for that to play out the way it normally would. And then that, in and of itself, became the point of contention. And people will tell you when you realize there is no way you can win or it's completely out of your hands, this should be a moment of realization, a moment of relief that no matter what happens, you don't have to worry about it because there's nothing else you can do. And I felt relief for a little while, and then I didn't. Career problems going on. Basically the equivalent of giving somebody in need a new wardrobe, a new vehicle, and some cash, and then the next day they call the cops on you saying that you stole money from them. That's not actually what happened, but strip it back, that's the essence of it. And that would be bad enough from one opponent, but then people from our side want to go about fighting this fight in a way I don't agree with, and they did it, or they made the first move without telling me what they were going to do, or that they were going to do anything at all. And now I'm in the middle of trying to deal with an opponent the right way, which is lots of record keeping and careful politicking because this situation's trickier than others would be. And once again, on our side, an immediately aggressive group. And it's tricky because in situations like this, you do need to take action. If you let anyone get away with anything once, and you'll need to deal with them more in the future, it's not like they're going to stop. But this all feels like bait. Like trying to start a fight to prove the initial accusation, which baiting people is easy when you fuck them like this because they're angry, because they did something underhanded. And then another career type issue, someone changed the billing on an invoice after we had already paid them for that invoice, and they didn't explain why, they just want more money. And they're trying to hold us hostage, and I can't get a hold of the people who changed the billing. All they're doing is throwing their lower level employees at us who also don't know what's wrong or why this happened, but they're also powerless to do anything about it. And then on the channel level, like pottery, I was surprised Sneak Thief didn't get up in arms in the comments on the video, but then when she transitioned into petty, like pottery, she's not a complete random. She's been hanging around the channel for about 5 months using different handles. And I blocked one of the others a while ago because those mental illness alarms were going off. Vindication feels good because you're right, but it's frustrating because this is another instance. Being correct doesn't feel good because it's confirmation people are deranged. And it's good to know people are deranged, but it reinforces the truth that you cannot trust anyone, you should not take anything at face value, and you need your defenses up always. So yesterday, I didn't drink any coffee, I didn't get any caffeine, minimal nicotine intake, and none of this a conscious decision, just the way the day turned out. So I'm exhausted, I'm ready to go to sleep, I get into bed, and you can feel when you're falling asleep. Except this time, instead of either falling asleep or waking back up, I got stuck in that falling asleep zone. And I'm visited by the specter of reality at my most vulnerable mentally. And for a few years now, I've been training to deal with the fact you'll spend all your life alone, outnumbered, and outgunned. On every field, in every theater, it'll be dumb, useless little you versus lots of people who have the numbers, have the resources, have the experience, have the smarts, have the aggression, have the strength. People who, individually and in groups, outmatch you in every way, and you still need to figure out how to win or at least not to lose. And I've gotten a lot better at existing in that state. But in this almost asleep state, I felt like I was not me looking at me. Not just as I am, but every single unfortunate experience in life attached to that. And there are different sorts of feeling bad. I feel bad most of the time, but my typical feeling bad state is conflict and conflict anxiety, which, while not a good feeling, is an effective feeling. I've gotten to a place the more overwhelmed by people and aggression I feel, the more effective or capable I am. But that's not what I felt last night. Last night, I felt depression and detachment, existential dread, which is a familiar feeling, but amped up a lot. Like I was a fresh set of not me eyes about to get implanted in, chained to me. And I was thinking, I don't want to live this life. Please don't make me live this life. And again, I'm used to feeling that existential dread sometimes, not as constantly as I used to now that I have a different sort of bad feeling. But even compared to those old existential dread feelings, this was a sharp, heightened existential dread. Not just what's the point, but no, really, what's the point of any of this? If this is your life, if this is reality, what's the point? And even last night, I knew that feeling would pass, and it did, but that passing doesn't change the truth of that feeling. And today, I've been thinking about what are you actually living for? Fear of death or the unknown, yes. Entertainment, yes. Whatever else you think up, yes. But really, what keeps you moving? And the conclusion I came to is nothing in particular. In the same way, there is that omnipresent, this is pointless truth, not just a feeling. Sometimes you feel it, not always, but whether or not you feel it doesn't change the fact it's the truth. There is also this almost ancient shrugging. Whatever that nameless feeling is, feels older than the fear of death and the fear of the unknown. It's almost like this feeling of it's in existence's nature to keep on existing. There is absolutely no reason to it. You will exist because you exist. And This feeling is as confounding as the none of this has any meaning feeling. It's like the most pointless argument or opposition of forces. There is no reason to exist. There is no reason not to exist. And I find when dealing with negative feelings, people tend to want to counter those bad feelings with good feelings. But this isn't a good feeling. It it all feels like an unstoppable force and an immovable object. It feels like the circumstances of your existence don't even matter. You and everything about your life is just some texturing on two forces that don't even hate each other, but are opposed and will always be opposed. So, why do you keep existing despite all these feelings? Ultimately, because I'm in existence's employ, I haven't been released yet, relieved of my duty yet, and non existence hasn't adequately swayed me or taken the measures to take me. That's all it is. It feels like a contract, and maybe that's why contracts feel so sacred to us. You and your feelings don't matter. All that matters is the legalese, the cosmic legalese of your existence contract. All that matters is your state of being or not being. I'm back on track now, but getting to see or getting to feel a bit of that existence contract shit was strange. And this video turned out to be one of the very short ones. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.